Welcome back. We didn't get to our second scene last time, so I'd like to start with that if that's okay with everyone.
Mhm.
This is the second Olivia Viola scene, um, in where Viola slash Cesario has been sent by Orsino once again to Olivia's place. Um, and then we get to see what happens. So, why don't we take a crack at it, unless anyone has any questions before we start? And we're going to take it from where Olivia says, "Let the garden door be shut and leave me to my hearing. Give me your hand, sir."
Can I suggest that it would be really helpful to Shelby to have those if you would do those couple Andrew lines, because it leads her into,
Sure.
there's something about I have already, said stuff to her that
Yep.
affects how she starts.
Yeah. Let me put those pages. Where? Got it.
So it would start then with a most excellent, accomplished lady, the heavens rain odors on you.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Sounds good. Let's take a crack at it, shall we?
Sure.
All
Uh,
right.
Most excellent, accomplished lady, the heavens rain odors on you.
That youth's a rare courtier. Rain odors. Well.
My matter hath no voice, lady, but to your own most pregnant and vouchsafed ear.
Odors, pregnant, and vouchsafe. I'll get 'em all three all ready.
Let the garden door be shut and leave me to my hearing. Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble servant.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never a merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth?
And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
For him, I think not on him. For his thoughts, would they were blanks rather than filled with me.
Madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts on his behalf.
Oh, by your leave, I pray you. I bade you never speak again of him. But would you undertake another suit? I had rather hear you to solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady,
Give me leave, beseech you. I did send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you. So did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me you. Under your hard construction must I sit, to force that on you in a shameful cunning, which you knew none of yours. What might you think? Have you not set mine honor at the stake, and baited it with all the unmuzzled thoughts the tyrannous heart can think? To one of your receiving, enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart. So let me hear you speak.
I pity you.
That that's a degree to love.
You know, not a grizz, for 'tis a vulgar proof that very oft we pity enemies.
Why then, methinks 'tis time to smile again. Oh, world, how apt the poor are to be proud! If one should be a prey, how much the better to fall before the lion than the wolf. Oh, the clock upbraids me with the waste of time. Be not afraid, good youth. I will not have you. And yet when wit and youth is come to harvest, your wife is like to reap a proper man. There lies your way. Due west.
Oh, then westward ho. Grace and good disposition attend your ladyship. You'll nothing, madam, to my lord by me?
Stay, I prithee, tell me what thou thinkst of me.
That you do think You are not what you are.
If I think so, I think the same of you.
You think right. I am not what I am.
I would you were as I would have you be.
Would it be better, madam, than I am? I wish it might, for now I am your fool.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful, and the contempt and anger of his lip. Ah, a murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of spring, by maidhood, honor, truth, and everything, I love thee so that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause. But rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought is better.
By innocence, I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth, and that no woman has, nor never none shall mistress be of it, save I alone. And so adieu, good madam. Nevermore will I my master's tears to you displore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart which now abhors, to like his love.
Okay. Thank you. Such a short scene and so much happens, and I have a number of questions. Um, Miranda, just a couple of questions for you first.
Sure.
The meaning behind Cypress, significance of.
Yes, yes, it's not the tree, it's a translucent black veil. So,
Hmm.
so there's a bit of a clue to a costume designer. Perhaps she's still in mourning of some type, though, as I always love the productions where she gradually sheds her mourning and,
Hmm.
finally shows up in some dress like the shirt Anne is wearing today, some bright
Yes,
colors.
yeah.
So that, yes, semi mourning she still seems to be in. Yeah.
Got it.
Hmm.
Pity. Do we have a different connotation of pity than what the Elizabethans had?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not seeing anything in the Riverside. I can
Okay.
certainly jump on the OED, but I don't think so. But I do think, as always with Shakespeare, may have all the connotations that we
Yeah.
now have rather than just one or two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm only asking that if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, that pity has a slightly different connotation than how we think of the word now. And I find that sometimes useful to really
Mm-hmm.
understand what it meant for Elizabethans to hear some of these words so that we understand, meaning and maybe how we play certain moments. Um, and then
I'll
my
look it up.
last my last question to you, and this is like the big one that I've been trying to decipher. And you know what I'm going to ask? This is the question about the lion and the wolf.
Yeah.
So the
it's
question on
a
the
it
question on the floor for
yeah.
everybody is the line
Hmm.
is if one should be a prey, how much the better to fall before the lion than the wolf? That's the line that
Hmm.
Olivia speaks, and I've never really tr was clear on who the prey is, who the lion, who the wolf is, and I think there are different interpretations of that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the oh wait, where'd this go? Oh yeah. So the Riverside says the lion is Orsino, then the wolf is Cesario. So, but what is she really saying?
Yes.
What is she saying here? Because it wouldn't be desirable to fall prey to either of these carnivores, methinks. So it's what some editors say is a famous textual crux. Have you ever noticed that whenever you see that gloss in a famous textual crux means we have no idea what this
We
means.
have no idea,
So,
right?
no. Hmm.
I mean, my interpretation, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it, um, is almost like a coaxing, perhaps, of to Cesario of how much better it would be to be if one should be a prey like you are,
Mm.
is it better to fall before the lion, meaning me, Olivia,
Mhm.
than the wolf? Yeah, but I'm not sure that helps us. I'm just trying to decipher the line. And do you have anything that comes to mind?
No.
I do.
Yeah.
I read it
Assumed
as
we was talking about not herself, but anyway, she's the prey, isn't she? No.
Well, this is
that's
the
how
question. We don't know, right?
Well,
that's how
that's what
I
I
read
was
it.
assumed. So,
Sorry, I meant that question for you, Shelby, not Anne. My bad.
oh,
Oh, that's
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why. That's why.
but Anne hath
You said
Olivia.
Anne, so I.
Yeah, but Anne hath Olivia thrice plus one. So I think it's a perfect question for Anne. What I read was if one should be a prey, if I am someone who's constantly being wooed, um, then how much better to be eaten by, to fall before a lion, which I think is actually Cesario, which is like a yummy, large, brave, manly Manny,
Mm-hmm.
than the wolf, who's like a scavenger, is how she
Mm-hmm.
thinks of Orsino.
Hmm. I mean, I buy that as good as any interpretation of that line, right? And I think it goes again to this idea that at this point, Olivia, you know, a, a short amount of time has passed, and you have now, what I imagine is you have now kind of thrown caution to the wind in this scene, which is, again, I love the idea that Miranda brought up in some productions that we see an evolution in the costuming of Olivia from being in complete mourning to something that's not anymore, right? As she sheds that, right? And I think this scene perhaps demonstrates, the apex of that evolution where you just go, screw it. I'm gonna come after Cesario, no holds barred. Yeah.
Yeah. And do we know, Edgar, how much time has passed?
I think just a day, Miranda.
Yeah, I think it's just the next day
Okay.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the scene we worked on last week, no more unless you come again. She doesn't say tomorrow, but I think the implication is he comes the next day. He
Okay, great.
comes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe the whole play, Miranda, takes place in 3 days.
Sorry, I think that's right.
I
It's a
think that's correct.
truncated time frame for
Yeah,
sure. Mm.
yeah. Um, I'd like to before we get into more technical stuff, I'd love to take a look at the scene again, and I'd love to play with the idea of you kind of throwing caution to the wind, Olivia,
Hmm.
right? And really kind of throw yourself at Cesario. I don't think you're trying to hide it anymore,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure what that does for Cesario, and whether it
Find out.
yeah, you know, but really go. The challenging part is that we're not on our feet in a room working this to
Right.
physicalize that. But if see if you can really with the words and the intention really go after her, uh, Shelby. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's give it a go.
Can, can I just give a reminder? So that vouchsafed at the beginning, and the my matter has no voice, lady, but to your own most pregnant and vouchsafed ear. There's prose there, so that's prose. So it doesn't have to be vouchsafed. It's just vouchsafed, and that's the beauty of the folder, by the way. If an ed ending needs to be accented, there will be an accent
Oh, great.
over it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So just let those adjectives roll.
And
Okay.
speaking of prose, and then at the end, Olivia bursting into not only poetry, but rhyming. That's just
Hmm.
a lovely arc that's here.
Yeah.
Whoops,
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
most excellent, accomplished, and I'm going to start over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most excellent, accomplished lady, the heavens rain odors on you.
That youth, a rare courtier, rain odors. Well,
My matter hath no voice, lady, but to your own most pregnant and vouchsafed ear.
Odors, pregnant, and vouchsafed. I'll get 'em all three already.
Let the garden door be shut and leave me to my hearing. Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
Oh, my servant, sir. 'Twas never merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant,
For
madam.
him, I think not on him, for his thoughts they were blanks rather than filled with me.
Madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts on his.
Oh, by your leave, I pray you. I bade you never speak of him again. But would you undertake another suit? I'd rather hear you solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady,
Give me leave, I beseech you. I did send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you. So did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me, you. Under your hard construction must I sit, to force that on you in a shameful cunning, which you knew none of yours. What might you think? Have you not set mine honor at the stake, and baited it with all the unmuzzled thoughts that tyrannous heart can think? To one of your receiving, enough is shown. Cypress, not a bosom hides my heart. So, let me hear you speak.
I pity you.
That's a degree to love.
No, not a grizz. For 'tis a vulgar proof that very oft we pity enemies.
Why, then methinks 'tis time to smile again. Oh, world, how apt the poor are to be proud. If one should be a prey, how much better to fall before the lion than the wolf. Oh, the clock upbraids me with the waste of time. Be not afraid, good youth. I will not have you. And yet when wit and youth has come to harvest, your wife is like to reap a proper man. There lies your way. Due west.
Then westward ho. Grace and good disposition attend your ladyship. You'll nothing, madam, to my lord by me?
Stay, I prithee. Tell me what thou thinkst of me.
That you do think you are not what you are.
I think so. I think the same of you.
Then think you right. I am not what I am.
I would you were as I would have you be.
Would it be better, madam, than I am? I wish it might, for now I am your fool.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and the anger of his lip. A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love that would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidenhood, honor, truth, and everything, I love thee so that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons for this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought is better.
By innocence, I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth. And that no woman has, nor never none shall mistress of it be, save I alone. And so, adieu, good madam. Nevermore will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart which now abhors to like his love.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's something fun in really going after it, Shelby. And it's really hard to imagine the physicality, I think, of the scene of, of what happens. I want to suggest something because I want to go back. I'm going to lean a little bit into the structure of the verse a little bit, and I think mostly for you, Shelby, because you have most of the verse. Really go to the end of the verse line before you breathe. Because I think, again, like we discovered last week, I think it really will allow you to take that. I like to think of those little verse lines, the end of the verse line is a little trampoline with the breath. And we go on to the next thing, and we go on to the next thing, right? Rather than stopping in the middle of the line, even if there's a period, I think it's going to drive you even more in your desire to get Cesario to want you, to love you, right?
Yeah. And so
Um,
do catch breaths after each verse line?
at the verse,
Okay.
yeah. You have, for example, I'll give you an example. You have in the um to one of your receiving breath. Enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart, so let me hear you speak. Right? If you take the period, it breaks up that drive and that desire. So really push through to the end of the verse line if you can.
Great.
I love what you guys are doing because I think that the text gives it to you in the if I think so, I think the same of you, then think you right. I am not what I, all that sequence of think and I and think and I. I love that exchange and the quick um um the back and forth I think is really sharp. One's trying to, you're swatting it her way, and then Viola swats it back to you, right? And it's this little fun exchange. Again, we have the same kind of repetition of the words, and Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess, my servant, sir. So really finding where the emphasis lies, I think, really helps to understand how we're playing with the word to either keep her away or to bring Cesario towards you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions?
I do by the end. I
Yes.
think I'm confused about what exactly happens.
Yes.
And why she says come again. Does she ignore Viola saying I can only ever love
Well, I have a little thought, and then this actually, I'm glad you pointed this out, Shelby. Another example, I think, where if we push through the end of the verse line, I think it gives us more emotionally, and it clues us in on a possibility is and you have the line, and so adieu, good madam, period, nevermore, end of verse line. If you push through the madam nevermore, for me, that perhaps is a clue that Olivia's trying to interject and you don't let her.
Okay.
If you push through the nevermore breath, will I my master's tears to you deplore?
Cool.
And we can just try this little exchange from Cesario by the roses of the spring, because I think that's the full declaration of your love.
Yeah.
Right. So let's take it from there. Let's push through the end of the verse lines. And to answer your question, Shelby, the yet come again, I think is so funny.
Okay,
Because she
great.
has said,
Yeah.
I never more am I going to come back. And you say, yet come back again.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Because
come
you
back
may
as
move
who
my
knows?
heart.
Right,
knows?
exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe next time you will persuade me that to be receptive to Orsino.
Okay, so I am still talking about Orsino, but it's a ploy.
Yes,
Totally,
I see.
exactly.
yeah.
Okay, great.
For thou
Great.
perhaps may approve that heart which now abhors to like his love, meaning Orsino. But this is just another ploy to get her to get Cesario to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't. So if you allow, so keep it up rather than down emotionally.
Yep.
I don't think Olivia at this point is she's not in the grief anymore. I think she go full out with the joy and the lust and the and desire for Cesario. So let's take it from Cesario by the roses of the spring. Do we know where we are, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
All right, when you're ready.
Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidenhood, honor, truth, and everything, I love thee so that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus for reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought is better.
By innocence, I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth, and that no woman has, nor never none shall mistress be of it, save I alone. And so, adieu, good madam. Never more will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart which now pours to like his love.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's really useful pushing through the end of the verse line. There's a few places again where I think it clues us in that there's a possible attempt at trying to get in a word edgewise.
Yeah, yeah.
And that no woman has, nor never none, right? If you kind of get pause it after, and that no woman has, it allows Olivia to interrupt. So that's why I suggest you keep pushing through the end of the verse line. Nor never none. Breath shall mistress be of it, save I alone.
But
Right?
you're suggesting give room for that?
No, I'm
And
suggesting
it
don't
happens
give room.
right in there.
No, I'm suggesting you keep pushing through. And I think, Shelby, what you were doing with that impulse to speak and you're not allowed to, I think really works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a quick
Yes.
note, Shelby, and this is a weird word, but it's about
Yeah.
line 158. It's by maidhood, honor, truth, and everything. Not, I thought I was hearing maidenhood. It's maidhood.
Great.
Yeah,
And
that
then
that will carry you forward too, because it's perfect iambic pentameter.
yeah. And then maga,
That's perfect. Yeah, mager. Yeah,
mager.
that's
In
yeah.
spite of was what my
Yeah.
thing says.
Yeah, it's one of those words
Mager.
that has a French origin. Malgré would be, which to the Elizabethan ears, it was transposed to maugre. Yeah, in spite of.
Yeah.
Despite.
All the pride.
Maugre or malgré.
Yeah. By maidhood, honor, truth, and everything.
Yeah,
And
that
then
all your pride.
yeah. I love you in spite of all your pride. I love this idea too of what a deal of scorn, like the more angry he gets, the more gorgeous he is.
Yes.
A deal of scorn looks beautiful in contempt and anger of his lip. It feels very Phoebe in As You Like It.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, I don't love him, but wait,
Yeah.
his thigh was great, Yeah.
That's
So
right.
just so hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I do wonder, do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought is better. Am I asking him to give it unsought? Like, am I seeking to give him it to me unsought? Or am
No,
I
meaning
pitching the idea that I'm giving you my love freely? How great.
yes.
Okay.
I think that's it. Right.
Okay.
It's the whole thing is a declaration of your love and an attempt to get Cesario to agree with you and to see
Yeah.
this is fantastic, isn't it? You didn't
It's
even
great.
ask for my love, but I love you. Isn't it amazing? Right?
Yeah, I'm not hard to get at all. This
You're
is fine
right.
for you. Right? It feels very Juliet too, of like, then knows the mask of night is on my face. I should have been coy and should have done all of the games, but whatever. Do you love
Yeah.
me? Just kind of here it is out there. But I love that she's pitching it
Yeah.
um as a good thing.
And the clause you're referring to is the thing you just spoke.
Hmm. Great.
Right.
Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast.
Yeah, don't try to
clause.
decipher it, right? Like don't try to figure it out.
Don't
Yeah,
overthink it. Don't
Yeah, don't
overthink it.
overthink
Yeah.
it.
great. Yep.
Yeah. And I just want to say, Edgar, I loved what you were saying a few minutes ago about how they just rhetorically, they're just back and forth and back and forth, and I think, one thing that is possible here is that she loves it that she can match wits with Cesario. All
Mhm.
Orsino does is send these boring, declarations of love by Curio and these people, which are, just don't interest her in the least. But Cesario, she can match wits with intellectually.
Yeah,
Mm.
and just a little side point. I think I mentioned this last week. This play has so much wit, and it's so well done, and the back and forth amongst characters, whether it's Festi or Olivia, Viola, is so well done, and it is like a little tennis match, right? Bam, bam, bam. Um,
Mm.
I think it's the wittiest of his plays, I think. Um,
More than much ado, really. That's interesting.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
Cool.
Um, Much Ado is just really, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Much Ado is really just Beatrice and Benedict who have the wit, and
Hmm.
in this play, a number of people share in that wit.
Mm.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Um, cool. Um, I'd love to give it another go, and I would suggest, Shelby, to vocally. I know you're in front of the mic and the camera, right? And
Yeah.
I want you to go vocally as big as you need to be.
Okay.
And again, like I said last week, really lean into those vowels, especially when you get Cesario by the roses of the spring, by maidenhood honor, da 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 da, right? It's and remember, not every word is important. Find
Yeah.
the ones that are important, and I think you'll find that by finding where the vowels, what vowels are delicious to you.
Mm.
And
And so
and if Shelby Olivia comes at you with that kind of energy, vocal energy, imagine the physical energy. How do you stop
Withdraw.
her from coming at you? If you can imagine that at any moment she's going to wrap her arms around you,
Yeah,
and she's going to discover that you are not who you are or who you claim to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yep. All right.
Most excellent, accomplished lady, the heavens rain odors on you.
Oh, that youth, rare courtier, rain odors. Well,
My matter hath no voice, lady, but for your own most pregnant and vouchsafed ear.
odors, pregnant, and vouchsafed. I'll get 'em all three already.
let the garden door be shut and leave me to my hearing. Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Yes, Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
Well, and he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
For him, I think not on him. For his thoughts, would they were blanks rather than filled with me.
Madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts on his behalf.
Oh, by your leave, I pray you. I bade you never speak again of him. But would you undertake another suit? I'd rather hear you to solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady,
Give me leave, beseech you. Did I send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you? So did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me you. Until your hard construction must I sit to force that on you in a shameful cunning, which you do
Hey, go
none
back
of
to hey,
yours.
Shelby. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Can you go back to so did I abuse you? Lean into some of these consonants also, the hard construction. Under your hard construction must I sit. I think there is innuendo there. You don't need to play it, but if you play the sounds of these words, it allows your lust to come through. Does that make sense? Oh, your mic went off.
Sorry. Yes, sorry, I was focusing too much on the breath at the end of the verse.
No, that's okay. There's a million things coming at you guys.
Okay, so could we do it from
I come to whet your appetite.
Go for dear lady, give me leave, beseech you.
or just madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts.
Sure.
I love that word.
Madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts on his behalf.
Oh, by your leave, I pray you. I bade you never speak of him again. But would you undertake another suit? I'd rather hear you to solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady,
Give me leave, beseech you. I did send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you. So did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me, you. Under your hard construction must I sit to force that on you in a shameful cunning, which you knew none of yours. What might you think? Have you not set mine honor at the stake and baited it with all the unmuzzled thoughts that tyrannous heart can think? To one of your receiving enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart. So let me hear you speak.
pity you.
That's a degree of love.
No, not a grizz, for 'tis a vulgar proof that very oft we pity enemies.
Why then methinks 'tis time to smile again. Oh, world, how apt the poor are to be proud. If one should be a prey, how much better to fall before the lion than the wolf. Oh, the clock upbraids me with the waste of time. Be not afraid, good youth. I will not have you. And yet, when wit and youth is come to harvest, your wife is like to reap a proper man. There lies your way, due west.
Well, then westward ho. Yeah. Grace and good disposition attend your ladyship. You'll nothing, madam, to my lord by me.
Stay! I prithee tell me what thou think'st of me.
That you do think you are not what you are.
If I think so, I think the same of you.
Then you think right. I am not what I am.
I would you were as I would have you be.
Would it be better, madam, than I am? I wish it might, for now I am your fool.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and anger of this lip. A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario! By the roses of the spring, by maidhood, honor, truth, and everything, I love thee so that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, that thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus with reason better. Love sought is good, but love given unsought is better.
By innocence, I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth. And that no woman has, nor never none shall mistress be of it, save I alone. And so adieu, good madam. Nevermore will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart which now abhors to like his love.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That was so great.
Funny how picking up cues improves everything, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Thank you for going on that ride with me, both of you. I think it's informative. I mean, we can't be precious with it. I think she's in that place where she's just kind of like, I mean, you literally kind of revealed yourself physically, by higher, and I think that's where she's at. And I think your response to that, Anne, was great. Like, oh my God, this is, and I think then we see the absurdity of where Olivia is and the real dilemma that Cesario's in, you know. Um, and I think it's great. Any thoughts on that scene that we just did? Anything you want to add, Miranda?
Yeah, again, that was just beautiful, and it really, in some ways, it is the emotional pivot point of the whole play, as so often happens, of course, in that third act. But and as Edward's saying, Shelby, that was just great. Olivia and this show of mourning and everything that we've seen her in before is just out the window, and you were practically diving through the screen, and Anne, I could really feel your Cesario say, "Oh my God," get. So it was really, really, really beautiful. The dynamic and the momentum and the velocity of it was really beautiful. Yeah. Mm.
Great
Um,
words.
I want to offer something. Um, this idea of pushing through to the end of the verse line. Um, by I apologize if I'm saying something that you already know, but also for the benefit of the people watching. When I say push through to the end of the verse line, take that breath. I really feel strongly that Shakespeare writes his text in that rhythm, what we call the iambic pentameter. Although the majority, I believe, of his texts are not in true iambic, right? But there is a rhythm in that, and if we really take that breath at the end of the verse line, I think it really helps to inform us emotionally, right? When I say push through to the end of the line, doesn't mean that you have to go fast through that verse line. Doesn't mean that you have to race through it. You can sometimes vary the speed and find what's important. And some lines we move through quickly, some lines we can slow down. And again, this is a tool because sometimes we do need to take that breath in the middle of the line, perhaps. I really think you don't. I really think you can push through to the end of the verse line in most cases, if not all. And I think it informs us emotionally. So I know that it felt like sometimes you were running out of breath, Shelby, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, when you take that breath at the end of the line, it doesn't mean that you have to rush. Sometimes there's a great example in Winter's Tale, if I may. Hermione in the court scene. Where her verse lines are really weird at the end
Yeah.
of that text. And if we really allow that to inform us, to really take those breaths can be long. Talk, 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 talk. Talk, 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 right?
You talking about Sir Spare Your Threats?
Yes.
Do you mean
Because
to, do
if
you
we
mean to do it
remember
real quick?
correctly, the emotional and physical state that she's in, the
Yeah.
text helps support that. She's had a child, right? She's brought before this court and humiliated.
Yeah.
And so she's literally in a physical state where it's hard to maybe catch her breath.
Yeah.
She's in a high emotional state. So this is what I mean, that it's not about racing through the text. It just means that I suggest that taking the breath at the end of the verse line can be useful. That's all.
And
And-
yeah, I
and-
don't even think it was conscious to speed. But when you have that much breath,
Yes.
I think I felt stoked.
Yes.
Like a fire.
Yes,
Not
but
like
I think there is
excited,
a
but yeah.
difference between racing through the language and
Yeah.
speaking at the speed of thought. And your speed of thought might be really charged, but that's different than racing through the language where where it doesn't it's not hard to comprehend, right? I think there's a
Yeah.
difference in those two.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Yes, go
Derek,
ahead.
can I just give a shout out here from the dramaturg, because this is absolutely correct, that Shakespeare's language always gives us clues, and you're also correct, it's not always perfect iambic pentameter. There's spondies, there's trochees, there's half lines with silent beats, and this is always where I start when I'm working with actors, if there's, and especially say with a play like Macbeth, or where the character's verse just starts to go off the rails as his mind is going off the rails. And
Mhm.
again, thank you for doing that. If we just come back to the text, it tells us what we need to know, I think.
No, I agree, and I think it's for me, as much as I love it, and this is not. I mean, this is all goes back to John Barton's work, and and Christian Linklater, and those folks. Um, but I really believe in using the structure of the verse as a tool for the actor, because in the end, these are acting texts. Um, so so having said that, when those tools are not useful, then we can set them aside. I'm not like married that we must do it this way, but I really do believe that they can be really useful in discovering things, right? Um, and sometimes I will insist on it. In the Macker scene, when I have done the deed, those are shared lines. So if you pause in that scene, the urgency and the danger of that scene completely goes out the window, right?
Exactly.
You really
Yeah.
have to finish each other's lines, those two characters.
Hmm.
Is
I've
there anything
also
else? Yeah, go ahead, Shelby.
I think what's new for me, which I've heard about but I've never done in practice, is the idea of having a catch breath at the end of each verse line. Because I also look for those end stops, right? The exclamation period or question mark at the end of a verse line, even though punctuation is more of an editor than it is what Shakespeare wrote. And so I usually go for one breath from the beginning to the end of an end stop.
Yeah.
And so I'm right there with you as far as not stopping in the middle of a verse line. But what's exciting for me to try finally is having so many breaths at the end of the verse line. I've heard that as a technique, but I've just never done it. So I didn't know if you
Yeah.
had any thoughts about having it one breath to the end of an end stop.
I do. I do, as a matter of fact. First, I'll say that again, the language we use has to be precise, right? I don't think of it as a catch breath, because a catch breath is like a quick thing to get out of the way. Take however long and however size of a breath you need at the end of that breath line to inspire you to get to that next thought, right?
Okay.
Even if that verse lines ends on a weird word, like in the Hermione speech, "Sir, spare your threats," the dot 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 dot, right? It ends on we still have to end up on those verse lines, but take as much breath as you need. Sometimes it's a smaller breath, sometimes it's a bigger breath that you need. So a bigger breath may take a little bit more time to take in before you go into the next thought. Sometimes, as the actor, you may choose to take that breath before you speak the next thing, because there's like, what are you going to say, right? That becomes really exciting. So that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing is, to answer specifically your question, I think moving from to the period or the end of the thought, we don't have enough breath support to sustain us all the way through. And by the end of it, I usually find that actors get into their throat and they're like their throats are squeezed, so
Yeah.
their emotional instrument gets squeezed, right?
Mm.
As humans, we don't do that at all in our everyday life. And when we do, we see people they're turning red. You know, babies don't have this problem. Babies breathe when they need to, and they scream their bloody heads off, and yet they never get sore throats,
Yeah.
right? Because they take the breath they need. So, this is why I think for me, if we throw out this idea, if breathing at the end of the verse line in any particular case is not a useful tool, that's okay. But I still suggest that you take enough breath whenever you need it, because if you try to get to the end of the thought or try to do 2 or 3 lines on one breath, you're going to run out of breath, and you get emotionally squashed, and I don't know what you're saying. Does that make sense? And
Yeah, let me just say in all of this, that all this talk about taking breaths here and there, I find a little tricky because in fact, once you decide you're going to the end of the line, it informs what you're after. So that the breath becomes, if you take in what you're after, instead of, oh, I'm going to take a breath here, that is, to me, is more useful. Talking
you're
about going to the end of the line is talking about my intent. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? As opposed to, I'm going to take a breath here.
yeah.
So I'm just throwing that in as
No. I
cautionary tale.
completely agree with you. If we get really technical about it, this becomes useless. And when I work with actors and they get in their head about this, I don't even introduce this usually in a rehearsal until later in the process. I suggest it. And if I see the actors getting in their head about it, I said, never mind, just go for intention. But for some actors, I find that can be really informative. So it just depends on the actor, but you're
Okay.
absolutely right. Intention will often inform when you need to take that breath organically,
Yeah. Yeah.
because our body naturally wants to breathe every 10 beats or so, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's a really helpful exercise while you
Mhm.
still have the script in front of you, even if you're basically off book, to just see then what we discover by doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's just a great
Yeah,
tool.
and again, this is all a rehearsal tool, a discovery, just like I offer the idea of using all the vowels. In performance, that's, I don't know that that works, right? You then become selective and like, I'm going to play on these words and really lean into the vowels in these specific words because they become the operative words. They become the emphasis and the intention, and I don't need to emphasize every vowel, right? Again, but we use these exercises to discover
Yeah.
what's useful. That's all.
Cool.
What time are we at? Great. Um, I'm going to throw a little curveball at you guys because I would love to just switch sides.
Yeah.
So Anne, you read Olivia,
Oh, okay.
and Shelby, you read Viola Cesario.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
I know it's kind of a little bit of a
Oh, no,
cold read here.
Oh my God. Edgar, what are you doing to us?
And
Sure.
bring in any of the notes I gave to each of you, see if
Yeah.
they're still there, and play. In the end, just play. Cool. All right, but I'll start
Yes.
with in the same place. Or Viola, you start with most excellent, accomplished lady.
And is it right that this time when Viola's coming back, she's not wanting to be there. It's the first time she really was trying to deliver Orsino's message as well as possible, but now it's I have to be here, or
Yeah,
like
you
does
we
Viola come in upset?
it's this is for me, that feels like it's a negative choice to come in already down. Uh, My suggestion is to still come in. You have a job to do, and you're going to still do it to the best of your ability, because then that becomes active. That's my suggestion.
Yes. But just because we're doing these scenes back to back,
Yeah.
I'm just interested in what's different about Viola at this point.
Mm.
And so maybe it's, yes, it's the same objective as the last time of doing the job well, but what has changed underneath? Is it just that turmoil that she found in the ring speech of like, how will this fadge?
Yeah. And how old
Yeah.
is Vag? Is that Olivia throwing herself at you now at
Yeah.
Viola? And that's,
Yeah.
whoa, this is like, we're a whole other territory now, right? So you have to deal with what's being presented to you in the moment in this scene. You know, I read something recently. I can't remember who the actor was in a book of actors, famous actors talking about Shakespeare and Shakespeare performance. And, you know, an actor was talking about how there is nothing that he does that is not based in the words in the text. If it's not in the text, he doesn't do it, right? There's no backstory. There's not, everything is in the text, right?
Cool.
So
I've heard
play
that
the
before.
play the
There's no
scene,
subtext in Shakespeare. Yeah.
but play with,
Miranda?
yeah, deal with what's happening in the scene in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here
I
we
would
go.
agree.
Okay. Most excellent, accomplished lady, the heavens rain odors on you.
That youth rare courtier rain odors. Wow.
My matter hath no voice, lady, but to your own most pregnant and vouchsafed ear.
Odors, pregnant, and vouchsafed. I'll get them all three already.
Let the garden door be shut and leave me to my hearing. Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
For him I think not on him. For his thoughts would they were blanks rather than filled with me.
Madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts on his behalf.
Oh, by your leave I pray you. I bade you never speak again of him. But would you undertake another suit? I had rather hear you but would you undertake another suit? I had rather hear you to solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady,
Give me leave, I beseech you. I did send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you. So did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me, you. Under your hard construction must I sit, to force that on you in a shameful cunning which you knew none of yours. What might you think? Have you not set mine honor at the stake and baited it with all the unmuzzled thoughts the tyrannous heart can think? To one of your receiving enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart. So let me hear you speak.
I pity you.
Oh, that's a degree to love.
No, not agrees, for 'tis a vulgar proof that very oft we pity enemies.
Why, then methinks 'tis time to smile again. Oh, world, how apt the poor are to be proud. If one should be a prey, how much the better to fall before the lion than the wolf. The clock upbraids me with the waste of time. Be not afraid, good youth. I will not have you. And yet when wit and youth is come to harvest, your wife is like to reap a proper man. There lies your way, due west.
Then westward ho! Grace and good disposition attend your ladyship. You'll nothing, madam, to my lord by me.
Stay, I prithee. Tell me what thou thinkst of me.
That you do think you are not what you are.
If I think so, I think the same of you.
Then think you right. I am not what I am.
I would you were as I would have you be.
Would it be better, madam, than I am? I wish it might, for now I am your fool.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and anger of his lip. A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love that would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidenhood, honor, truth, everything, I love thee so, that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause. But rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is better, but given unsought is better.
By innocence I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth, that no woman has, nor never none shall be mistress of it, save I alone. And so adieu, good madam, never more will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart which now abhors to like his love.
That was great.
That's fun. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. And this and you both kind of, did some of the stuff that we had talked about with each other's roles now. And so do you, good madam, nevermore. That the way that gets played, the way you played that, Shelby. Yes, that was you. Yes. Really didn't allow Cesario to get in, Olivia to get in a word, right? Edgewise there. You really cut her off. Good madam, nevermore will I, right? And again, it really informs us of what's happening physically in the scene and emotionally. One of the things that, that I like to do is usually we're up on our feet in the first rehearsal. Because I really think it's useful to, even if we have these these things in our hands, that even starting to physicalize, I think, is really important. I always say Shakespeare is a contact sport. And it requires our full body to engage Shakespeare. Great. Can we just, I want to look at one more little thing and then maybe we'll go back to the other scene. Let's go back to your original roles. I want to just look at this little sequence of what is your name? Cesario is your servant's name for princess. Really use the word servant. Anne. Wait, yes. No. Shelby.
Olivia.
Cesario is your servant. Oh, here's the intent. We'll use intent and then we'll look at stress, unstress. Really clarify for Olivia who you are with that line. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And now we can stay on the camera. We're just going to do a quick exchange of these like 8 lines or so.
From Give Me Your Hand.
Sure.
Okay. Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant.
Great. So go
Sir?
back. So can I suggest then that the intention is to clarify for her who you are and what your role is here, right? You know she likes you. Right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're looking for.
I clarify for her that you're a servant. Cesario is your servant's name. Fair. That really tells her right away that you're there in service of Orsino and not because
Yeah,
you
but
might
if you emphasize servant, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Because that then implies someone else.
Well, you're emphasizing that you're her servant. If you're Orsino's servant,
I know, but I can't emphasize servant. Cesario is your servant. I don't get that. But okay, I'll do it.
you just try it.
Okay.
Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
And
Right.
he,
And then Clara, and can you, yes, you actually did it, Anne. That little slight emphasis
yeah.
really worked. And then you have to then play that, Shelby,
Yeah.
your servant to the
Your
counter.
your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
Yes.
Yeah. And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
Yes. Right. It's really subtle, but if we really play that, we get
I hear you. As
Yeah.
long as I don't hit servant as though it's somebody else we're talking about.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I think
I got you. I think it's useful. Yeah.
Can we try that again, just to hear it?
Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never a merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
For him, I think not on him. For his thoughts,
Yes,
they
yes.
were blanks.
So that's all. Yeah.
Cool.
That's lovely. Yeah. It's not that you have to pound the word. It's just there's a slight,
Yeah.
In voiceover, we call it billboarding, which is the brand name. It's like, oh, if only I had this apple, but this kind of apple's my favorite. Just a little lift.
The little lift, yeah. And it goes and it actually then, if you look at the stress on stress, the iambic, it lands on the stress. Your servants, right? Blah, blah, blah. That's all. And it just for us, it helps to clarify this little moment of wit between the two,
Yeah, cool.
And it's such a good reminder, Edgar, that Viola knows what she's walking into. She's walking into Olivia being into her, right? She loves me,
Yes.
sure. The cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. Like she figured it out with the ring speech.
Yes.
So it seems like she's arming herself with formality.
Yes, and yes, and reminding her what your role is here.
Yes.
I'm your servant. Is your servant's name, right? Fair princess.
And this might be for you or for Miranda, but give me your hand. Is that a kiss the ring moment? I want to touch you?
The latter, I think. And it's give me your hand, but is she sort of leading him somewhere? Is she
Sure.
it just and then of course what's going on physically with Viola in that moment.
Yeah.
But that's Edgar, I don't know if you agree with that, but I don't think it's a kiss the ring. I think she's inviting this touch that Cesario probably would just as soon avoid.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
that
think
she-
it can, I think it can go either way. Give me your hand, and that could be the stage direction that you lead her on,
Mm-hmm.
or you place her in a position or in a location where she can't escape, right? Or it could also be Viola doesn't, and instead takes the formal role of my duty, madam, and most humble service. Again, a reminder of what your role is there, and you refuse, Viola doesn't offer the hand. So I think a
that's
number
great.
of ways to play that moment.
Yeah, reminding that if I am touching you, it's because of my duty. Yep. But I like the idea that she
Or you don't,
wouldn't.
if you don't offer the
Yeah.
hand, it's also because you're here to play a role and we're not going to go there.
Yep.
Right. Cool. Awesome. I'd love to unless there's any other thoughts that we want to offer in this scene, I'd love to go back to our first scene.
I do have one more question in this
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
When the clock strikes and
Yes.
the clock upbraids me with waste of time, and she says, "I will not have you, youth." Just some thoughts on that section would be great. Is it a fake out? Is it playing hard to get finally? What's the significance of the clock? It's very Cinderella.
Um, I,
Is it a clock? Could it be another interruption? Like, I don't know.
yes, I mean it does. It is an indication. I think it's also a device that Shakespeare puts in there to get to the end of the scene.
Yeah.
But I do think that what because then there is another kind of playing on time with that next section with when wit and youth has come to harvest. Your wife is like to reap a proper man, right? Because Cesario's a boy right now, a boy,
Oh, yes.
and now he's gonna grow up to be a man when wit and youth is come to harvest. I think it's a really it's a sexy line. I think it's again Olivia throwing herself, if you will, at Cesario, right?
And Anne, when you did the way you said wife just planted that seed. So even though you're saying I will not have you, it still planted the idea of a wife. That was beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I will not have you is sort of a feint in a way, but then she just can't help herself by envisioning, what he'll be like when he's, grown to man's estate.
I have actually a question, Miranda. The due west, is there any significance to that?
Not that I'm aware of. Westward Ho had been in the, lexicon by then, but I'm not aware of any connotation. But I will look that one up. I'm going to look up that and look up pity in the OED, see what we can come up with. By the way, my favorite early modern play title, I am not making this up. There's a play from around this time, the title of which is Westward for Smelts. So there we go. Fun fact.
What's the OED?
Oh, the Oxford
Oxford?
English Dictionary. Yeah,
Great.
yeah, which has it's online, but I also have the old-fashioned one that we got decades ago where you use a magnifying glass, and even that isn't helpful enough for me anymore. I have to take a photo and then, zoom out. But yeah, I'll look those up. And anything else that people want.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Shall we take a look at that first scene for a brief moment?
Which is it? It's
1-5. Act
1.
1, scene 5.
Okay.
At about line 160-ish.
Gee, I'm having trouble finding it.
You've got the folder pulled up, and if you go to the
I
far left, you can
do.
scroll up to to Act One, Scene 5.
Oh, sure. Of
Yeah.
course.
Mm.
There we go. Okay. Okay, just a second.
So Viola enters right after 165, line 165 in the in
And
this
for
in
some reason, it keeps sending me back to the scene. It's not 1-5, it's what? 1-3,
it
right?
it is 1-5, line 165 and following. Not coming up. Hmm.
I'm
No,
going to
I
try to
keep
grab a
getting the
link. I'm going to
same
try to
thing
grab a
back
link for
again.
you, Angie.
Oh,
Huh?
Nathan's here
I'm going to
to
try to
help
grab a
us.
link and just drop it in the chat for you.
Shoot. I
That's okay.
actually kind of know some of these lines.
While Nathan's doing that, I'm going to tell you also another true story. I once had an anxiety dream where I had to go on as Viola, and I didn't know the lines, but I thought, okay, I know the first scene. Her first scene, what country friends is this? This is Illyria, lady, and what should I do in Illyria? My brother, he's in Elysium, etc. And then someone said to me, oh no, we're cutting that scene. And I woke up in horror. It was the most creative anxiety dream I've ever had. I think that link is now in the chat.
That's amazing.
Did you get there, Angie? If you click on that link and then scroll down to line 65 or so, I think you'll be in the right spot.
Okay.
Or actually, I think it's in the folders. I think it's 160. I think is or one, or even maybe a little earlier.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
okay, great. I just wanted to ask you to fill a little bit of time here, Miranda. This scene, I think almost all of it is in prose. Oh no, it goes into verse at the end.
Yeah,
Can
it goes into verse at the
okay.
end with that gorgeous
Yeah.
language. Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about the difference between the two and why
In the
this
scene specifically, in the scene
in
specifically,
general,
or
and
just
then maybe
generally?
specifically about the scene?
Sure. That's a good idea for those listening at home. Just a reminder, the prose is language without a particular rhythm or meter. This is not to say there aren't sort of internal rhythms or assonances or echoes of words. Typically, we see characters who are of a lower social status. This is the sort of straightforward definition tend to speak prose, but sometimes characters of an elevated status will speak prose to each other. That's less often. And then when characters are speaking blank verse, which is unrhymed iambic pentameter, that was of course the heroical verse. We see it starting in, well, it didn't start with Chaucer, but the Canterbury Tales, of course, is iambic pentameter, and then Paradise Lost also is. And blank verse, again, unrhymed iambic pentameter, that characters of an equal status can speak to each other if it's a more important, however we're defining that moment. So in the switch here, I think Viola begins with prose because it's first of all, she begins as Cesario because she's not sure who she's talking to. But then she begins in this sort of informal way. But then as the subject matter becomes loftier, becomes more the images of sort of traditional courtly love, except with Shakespeare's gorgeous language and originality. At that point, she goes into verse. And I also often think it catches Olivia's ear at that point, both literally and also sort of energetically, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
In the scene, yeah. But it's never accidental, as we know which language Shakespeare's characters are using at any given moment.
And just I'll add one little thing, the kind of
Please.
the crude way of determining whether something is prose or verse if you're looking at the page. Because sometimes
Yeah.
people actually don't know, like what's a verse, what's prose. The verse lines all have capital letters at the beginning of the line, and the prose generally
It,
it just runs across. So the first letter is not capitalized. Sometimes it will, because that's where
thank,
it lands in how it's edited, but you'll see the rest of the lines aren't. So that's how you generally can tell.
thanks, Edgar. That's great, and that's exactly what I remind young people or not so young people learning to see the difference for the first time. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Um, so let's just kind of remind ourselves of the scene and take a crack at it. And I may stop you, but let's just start from the beginning right now. Um, yeah, and we'll take it from giving my veil come throw it over my face whenever you're ready.
Give me my veil. Come, throw it over my face. We shall once more hear Orsino's embassy.
The honorable lady of the house, which is she?
Speak to me. I shall answer for her. Your will?
Most radiant, exquisite, and unmatchable beauty. I pray you tell me if this be the lady of the house, for I never saw her. I would be loath to cast away my speech, for besides that it is excellently well penned, I have taken great pains to con it.
Oh.
Good beauties sustain no scorn. Let me sustain no scorn. I'm very comfortable, even to the least sinister usage.
Whence came you, sir?
I can say little more than I have studied, and that question's out of my part. Yeah, good gentle one, give me modest assurance, if you be the lady of the house, that I may proceed with my speech.
Are you a comedian?
No, my profound heart. And yet, by the very fangs of malice, I swear I am not that I play. Are you the lady of the house?
If I do you not usurp myself, I am.
Oh, most certain, if you are she, you do usurp yourself. For what is yours to bestow is not yours to reserve. But this is from my commission. I will on with my speech in your praise, and then show you the heart of my message.
Come to what is important in it. I forgive you the praise.
Alas, I took great pains to study it, and 'tis poetical.
It is the more like to be feigned. I pray you keep it in. I heard you were saucy at my gates, and allowed your approach rather to wonder at you than to hear you. If you be not mad, be gone. If you have reason, be brief. 'Tis not that time of moon with me to make one in so skipping a dialogue.
Well, you hoist sail, sir. Here lies your way.
No, good swabber, I am to hull here a little longer. Some mollification for your giant, sweet lady.
Tell me your mind.
I am a messenger.
Sure, you have some hideous matter to deliver when the courtesy of it is so fearful. Speak your office.
It alone concerns your ear. I bring no overture of war, no taxation of homage. I hold the olive in my hand.
Oh.
My words are as full of peace as matter.
Yet you began rudely. What are you? What would you?
The rudeness that hath appeared in me have I learned from my entertainment. What I am and what I would are as secret as maidenhead. To your ears, divinity. To any others, profanation.
Give us the place alone. We will hear this divinity. Now, sir, what is your text?
Most sweet lady,
A comfortable doctrine, and much may be said of it. Where lies your text?
In Orsino's bosom.
In his bosom? In what chapter of his bosom?
To answer by the method in the first, of his heart.
Oh, I have read it. It is heresy. Have you no more to say?
Good madam, let me see your face.
Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face? You are now out of your text. But we will draw the curtain and show you the picture. Look you, sir, such a one as I was this present. Is not well done?
Excellently done. If God did all.
'Tis in grain, sir. 'Twill endure wind and weather.
'Tis beauty truly blent, whose red and white nature's own sweet and cunning hand laid on. Lady, you are the cruelest she alive, if you will leave these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy.
Oh, sir, I will not be so hard-hearted. I will give out divers schedules of my beauty. It shall be inventoried, and every particle and utensil labeled to my will as item, 2 lips in different red, item, 2 gray eyes with lids to them, item, 1 neck, 1 chin, and so forth. Were you sent hither to praise me?
I see you what you are. You are too proud. But if you were the devil, you are fair. My lord and master loves you. Oh, such love could be but recompense, though you were crowned the nonpareil of beauty.
How does he love me?
With adorations, fertile tears, with groans that thunder love, with sighs of fire.
Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, of great estate, of fresh and stainless youth, in voices well divulged, free, learned, and valiant, and in dimension and the shape of nature, a gracious person, but yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago.
If I did love you in my master's flame, with such a suffering and such a deadly life, in your denial I would find no sense. I would not understand it.
Why? What would you?
Make me a willow cabin at your gate, and call upon my soul within the house. Write loyal cantons of contemned love, and sing them loud, even in the dead of night. Halloo your name to the reverberant hills, and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, oh, Olivia. Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me.
You might do much. What is your parentage?
Above my fortunes, yet my state is well. I am a gentleman.
Get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more. Unless perchance you come to me again to tell me how he takes it. Fare you well. I thank you for your pains. Spend this for me.
I am no feed post, lady. Keep your purse. My master, not myself, lacks recompense. Love make his heart a flint that you shall love, and let your fervor, like my master's, be placed in contempt. Farewell, fair cruelty.
Oh, what is your parentage? Above my fortunes, yet my state as well. I'm a gentleman. I'll be sworn thou art. tongue, my face, thy limbs, actions, and spirit do give thee fivefold blazon. Not so fast. Stop. Unless the master or the man. How now? Even so quickly may one catch the plague? Methinks I feel this youth's perfections with an invisible and subtle stealth to creep in at mine eyes. Well, let it be. What ho, Malvolio?
Okay, let's hold there. Oops. Great. Really lovely, guys. It's so interesting, even from one week to the next, how already, the words have just kind of sunk in a little deeper in both of you. And already, this scene is already at like a whole other level. So it's really lovely. I wanted to look at this little moment here. Where is it? Where to go? Um, um, uh, oh, oh, there, the what I thought was really interesting is, in addition to what I just mentioned, both of you were listening in a different way. That I found that, again, it just a little deeper, a little, the listening was really sharp. I there's a moment in the Willow Cabin speech where Viola says, "Halloo your name to the reverberate hills," right? I love that word "halloo," and you started to go with this, Shelby. The how that word and that sound hits your body and how it resonates in you. Halloo, oh, right? That if it does that to you, we start to see, like literally see what's happening for Olivia. And we start to see that transformation, right? Into um into you thinking Cesario's like, this guy's very, very different. Yeah.
Can we go back to that halloo
Yes.
thing? Why halloo? My Folgers is spelled Halllow. And since we're talking about echoes and Orsino and Olivia, why is it ooh instead of o?
Miranda. Yeah, and your mic's off, just so
Yeah, I know. I'm checking, of course, this amazing book, which is David and Ben Crystal's book about Shakespeare original OP pronunciation, original pronunciation. You also can subscribe to, there's an audio thing that comes with this that you could actually listen to, but I just want to double check what he says. But just off the top of my head, you make such a good point, Anne, especially because I really love the way you did the cry out, oh, and I thought, she's gonna say Orsino, oh, and then you remember
With
yourself,
that, I owe to
Olivia.
Shelby.
That was really fun. That was really fun. Yeah, no, that was really fun. And Shelby, I also just have to say you did something I don't remember you doing last time, which was you were a little bit miffed, at the, to if it isn't, if God did all, if that's it, and you said, well, it's ingrained, sir. I'm not wearing makeup. I really look this
Yes.
way. I thought that was delightful.
Mhm.
But sorry, let me pay attention to what I'm doing here instead of nattering on. Um, but off the top of my head, I think it's because it's the halloo is the hunting cry, when traditionally, and I can look that up in the OED as well. But um, that's my what how I've always understood that word.
But then we're
Whereas
mixing metaphors if we're going from hunting to echo, aren't we?
we sure are. Which is why this is so fun. So Yeah, so yeah, and they also he now interestingly he has all of them. He has hello, he has hello. And the hello would have a sense of holy as well. But I've always heard it and understood it as closer to the hunting cry, you know. But you make a good point that we're talking about echoes. So this is, you know, this is where I, as a dramaturg, I always tend to step back and say it has to make sense to all of you, to the actors, to the director, and it has to be whatever you're feeling in your body. I think, as Edgar has been stressing as well. So that wasn't very helpful. Sorry.
I personally prefer hello because it leads to what's going to follow. You
Let's
get
try.
carried away with the sound.
Do you
Hello,
want to try it with
your
hello?
name to the reverberate hills and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, oh, Olivia, oh.
Can you do you want to try it with that? With the hello?
Love to, if I may.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mm.
Do you want to give her the cue in, Shelby?
If well, but
Oh, let's go back a little bit. If I did love you.
if I did love you in my master's flame, with such a suffering, such a deadly life, in your denial, I would find no sense. I would not understand it.
Why? What would you?
Make me a willow cabin at your gate and call upon my soul within the house. Write loyal cantons of contemned love and to sing them loud, even in the dead of night. Hello, your name to the reverberate hills and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, oh, Olivia, oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you would pity me.
You mind too much.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know, I think that they both have merit. Again, this is for me, I really like the sound of the halloo. There's something elongated about that vowel sound that's just different. And so because it sounds so different than all the other vowels that are in that speech, it just stands out for me. That's my preference, but I also like the hello also works really well.
Well, hello is what you do when you want an echo. Hello.
Hmm.
I
But
don't know. It's
here's a little counter to that, and the yodele hee hoo, right? The yodeling,
okay. Maybe I can go with that. All right.
right?
The Riverside unhelpfully spells it hello with an OW and then glosses it as halloo. So,
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, but you know what I'm also realizing? I think
I'm
the
inclined
Riverside
to
got the
think that
line.
some actor just fancified it up.
That could, yeah, that could be. And
And
I also am concluding the Riverside gets the lion and the wolf in the scene we started with today. They get that wrong. So I just want to go on
Well,
record as saying that.
but that's why it's so helpful to consult every edition you can, because it's just humans attacking it in different ways.
Mhm.
So I love the multiple, and it becomes a detective kind of an adventure. I wonder too if the Ben Crystal, yeah, the website is called Shakespeare's Words, and
Mhm.
you can click on. They've now done not only the pronunciation of each vocab word, but they also do the original pronunciation, the OP.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so while you
Mhm.
were looking it up, Miranda, I listened to it, and it seems like the halloo is the OP, is the original pronunciation, and that
Mhm.
the received pronunciation is hello, but
It's
both,
hello.
yeah, and so both are options. And both, though, have the emphasis on the second syllable, which I think is the main thing to maintain in either choice. Because hallow is a different
Is it a different word?
different definition. So
I
hello,
appear to be giving it an
halloo.
emphasis that I didn't give it.
You did. No, you did.
No, you did.
You emphasized the
You
second
did.
syllable.
Yeah.
Halloo, hello. Those are both just those second ones, but I
Yeah,
think either of those really, carry the spirit. And what I heard in halloo is like a wolf howling. And
Mhm.
it brought me outside, and it's just a little bit different. So I think I just love that there's one word that can have so much to mine.
Mhm.
All right.
What
I
What if I
noticed.
give you this?
Mm.
Hello.
Just one full short line. It's just
Yeah.
that one word.
I think this is one of those things like we have all this kind of all these resources, right? There are times where ultimately it's what is going to work for this production, what is going to work for this actor in this
Yeah.
moment, right? And it's going to, give the intention that we're trying to play. So there are times when I may not agree with a choice, but I understand why it's being made, and I'll kind of, I'll let sometimes, okay, we're going to go with in this moment, this actor wants this way. We're going to go with that, right? Sometimes the actor comes around to the other side, sometimes not. But it's all part of the process of trying to figure this out. I actually like both. Again, I have a preference for hello, but I like how you played that, Anne, with the hello. Uh, it's also sexier. You go into that deeper O sound,
Ooh.
right? Oh, hello, your name to the reverberant hills. With the few more minutes that we have, I just want to take a look at the very next section, which is you might do much. What is your parentage, right? And I want you to look at the discombobulation that maybe has happened for you, Olivia, and that carries over. And this is where we might throw out the verse line endings.
Yeah,
I
okay.
want you as an experiment, I want you to just play with the discombobulation of what just happened and the whole thing of, okay, go to your Lord. I tell him I can't love him. Don't come back, but come back and take this for me. Here's some coins. Go away, right? All of that, this discombobulation, really
Yeah.
play it up, right?
Yeah.
And then and then see what happens for Cesario to see this woman has just come undone here. Something's happened that's interesting or strange or whatever. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So take it from um you might do much.
Well, why don't I just give her the end of the, oh, you
Oh
should.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me.
You might do much. What's your parentage?
Above my fortunes, yet my state is well. I am a
Oh.
gentleman.
Oh, I get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more, unless perchance you come to me again to tell me how he takes it.
Shelby.
Fare you well.
Shelby, go back. Sorry. Anytime there's a thing about like let him send no more, imagine that she's walking away, that Cesario's walking
Yeah.
away, right? Tell
Yeah.
me how he takes it. Fare you well. He starts to walk away. I thank you for your right. Every time
Yeah.
they're walking away. Okay, take it back
Great.
from the same place, please.
Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me.
You might do much. What is your parentage?
Above my fortunes. Yet my state is well. I am a gentleman.
Get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more. Unless perchance you come to me again to tell me how he takes it. Fare you well. I thank you for your pains. Spend this for me.
I am no feed post, lady. Keep your purse. My master, not myself, lacks recompense. Love make his heart of flint that you shall love. and let your fervor, like my master's, be placed in contempt. Farewell, fair cruelty.
That's all there. Excellent. Yeah, I think I just want to play with what happens emotionally after this speech and what's happening, right? So this is one of those cases where maybe the end of the verse line is not where we take the breath. We start to break it up a little bit. There might be something interesting in playing with it, right? So I just wanted to experiment a little bit with that.
Yeah.
And still pushing the thought to the end. So never letting it get small. I thank you for your pains. Spend this for me, right? Cool. I'd like to stop here. This is a good place to stop.
Yeah.
We will pick up next week again.
Yeah, it was a really really fun session. I mean, it's so enjoyable when you can see the actors having fun, like enjoying the scene. You guys were laughing through a lot of it coming back in at the end. It was just everybody enjoying the process, and what a crazy idea is that you can have a lot of fun working on this material. And always for the Shakespeare nerds among us, the granularity you can get of going, but wait, the sixth definition of this word says that, but it matters, like you were saying, Edgar, that the actor feels comfortable, and it can resonate with them, and then it conveys the moment. There's kind of a meeting of the minds there. So
And that it's
yeah,
not
no,
about the right answer, but the best answer for this production, this version of someone's role. There's a lot of choice in Shakespeare, and I think once people find that out, that's when we become nerds. Can't get enough.
Thank you, guys. For the next session, if I'm going to try something over Zoom that I've never done on Zoom. So I may contact you guys just to give you a little heads up.
Sure.
But it just I've never tried it on Zoom, so we're going to try it and see how it goes. It'll be an experiment, just like everything else is an experiment.
Yes. I love the cliffhanger. Excellent.
Yes.
Very cool.
Great.
All right, great. Well, a great session today. Great to see everybody. Thank you all so much for your time and talents, and we'll pick it up again next week.
Thank you, folks.
Anon.
Great. Thanks.
All right, take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.